All right, good.
Great.
You good? We ready? All right, I know you guys did a nice break already, but I've got one too. All right, let's get the juices flowing. Just like 2 or 3 people around the room, whoever wants to go, like, think about the end client for measurement, like your economic buyer, the agency, your analytics person. What do they care about? What makes them look good when we're selling measurement products? Just throw an idea out there.
Allowing them to prove the impact of their media and driving bottom line for business.
What else? What makes them look good? What do they take this back to their bosses and say, like, this is why we bought it?
Flexibility of the investment.
Something new, innovative, never been done.
Perfect. All right, so we're gonna circle back to this, but Vlad touched on this, but we want to turn from, we've been internally focused on the measurement product, right? There's been a lot of like, how does this work internally, and translating that to like, who wants to buy this externally? We need to shift our focus now, right? To how are the economic buyers, and the agencies, and the brands thinking about measurement and the product we're selling from an external perspective, so we can understand how it's landing on them, how it's making them look good. They can bring that feedback back to us. We can make the product better. It gets back to the ease and simplicity and all the things that Vlad teed us up with. All right, so myself and Jeff and Janet and Maddie are going to talk a little bit about like what measurement is going to look like externally this year. There's going to be a little bit of the internal, like what are we doing? But we'll leave a lot of that to like Clarence and the product.
Also, we don't want to lecture at you. Like, keep it a conversation. If you see something on the slide that you don't understand or you want to dig into, like this is a great forum to do that, so that everyone's on the same page about like why we're doing the things that we're doing.
Vlad's supposed to interrupt me, so
You just wait.
all right. I'm not sure I've ever like shared this full vision with everyone. You guys have probably heard me say this in some capacity over time, but our aim as a company, as a measurement focused company, is to disrupt the measurement industry. And we're doing that with our real-time data, our best in class data, right? That's grounded in the permission, the future proof, all those things we talked about that give the clients access to quicker decisioning. So like everyone should have this vision top of mind. It's both rooted in our methodologies, which we're building again internally, but our data set that we sit on, right, which is focused on the next gen of where permission and data goes from a regulation perspective. I put a quote here. I think most of you have seen this too, but Sam Bloom, who's the CEO of PMG, was like, it takes basically the Google Analytics for the real world. And that was like 4 months ago, right? That's when we just had the dashboard stood up, attribution. Like, I expect to hear more quotes like that this year from our end clients in terms of the utility of our product and like where we're going, especially as we make it more sophisticated in market and more ubiquitous, like Vlad was talking about.
Can I just say, sorry, I'll start. I want to go through every slide.
Someone got it.
Okay, everything in bolded and black here on this slide is like a real pain point with existing solutions in the market. So real time alternatives, like you get them 2 to 3 months after the campaign. Permission, future proof. Not just CMOs, agency. Everyone's worried about all the regulatory stuff that Vlad was referring to. We sit on this data set that is built for the future. Fast, that's similar to real time, but in-flight optimizations, robust. Like there's issues with existing players. There's issues with Nielsen. Like we hear it. They don't necessarily believe all the things that they've been getting from Foursquare, for example. Like you guys see that in market. Actionable, ability to actually do something with the reporting that you get versus getting it after a campaign and not being able to really do anything other than include it in a wrap deck, 3 months after, a campaign. So all of these things are like, they are our vision, but they're specifically targeted on major pain points with existing solutions.
Questions? All right, here's your team. Has everyone met Janet?
Welcome, Janet.
Welcome, Janet. All right, we're pumped to have Janet. We're pumped to be like a team of 4 now. For a long time, I was just yelling at everyone. So, numbers and math. All all right, everything this team does is to enable the end sale of the measurement product. This links back to what Vlad was talking about, right? Like everything to enable the sale of the measurement products. And from a data perspective is our team, obviously, like we're data insights and measurement. We're only talking about measurement right now because that's going to be the focus of our go-to-market. But know that everything we're working on and all the stuff that like we're doing behind the scenes or with you in market is for us to be able to sell this thing together. All right, so baseline quiz. 11 people took the quiz. Thank you for taking my quiz. Our proficiency is good, right? So like this wasn't meant to be like, oh, like this is the hardest quiz you ever take, and like you need to know all this like obscure information around measurement. Like, yes, we want to double click on that and train the team and make everyone as proficient as possible in measurement. But like our external, like the things that you need to understand about our current product and how to talk about it in market, good proficiency, right? As we bring in more people onto this team, into the organization, this is a good place to start, and we'll only build it from there. So thank you for taking.
What was the one wrong or two wrong answers?
So the two things, this is a little bit nuanced, but some people had that converter insights is in both the measurement section of the dashboard. This was my trick question, so sorry. The measurement section of the dashboard and the insight section of the dashboard. There should be a clear differentiation for everyone that converter insights is different from regular insights. We don't have to do this right now, but converter insights are tied to the campaign, whereas regular insights are not. So that was one. And then the CPM definition, which is obviously not a critical roadblock, but CPM is actually cost per 1,000 impressions, not cost per million impressions.
Come on.
Come on.
Someone got that wrong.
It's an N, not a K.
So you got that.
There is no judgment in the quiz. All right.
Maybe I do.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
judging, but not actually.
okay. All right, listen, we've come a really long way in a really short period of time, and we're going to go a long way this year as well. So like, what does this look like over the past year? Do you guys remember when we announced the OpenX partnership for measurement? That's when like the dashboard first came to life. That was like this time last year, right? Like failure to launch, right? On OpenX measurement, we know that, but like that's for some reasons that have enabled us to get to where we are today. It's going to keep happening, right? Like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Eventually, it's going to be 5 step forwards and 1 step back. But we started here this time last year, OpenX attribution dashboard 1.0, and very limited resources on measurement, right? And now, then we launched Frisbee because we said we needed more CPG data to be able to do OpenX measurement. Like this is like historical. Like it's good to look back sometimes, right? Then we partnered with Trade Desk, and for all the problems we've had with Trade Desk, it changed our business, right? It gave us the upper funnel to be able to talk to, like, we have this really important external partnership. That led to us developing model conversions, which some version of that is, again, as painful as that's been for everyone, least of which me in this room, you know, it is future methodology. But we recognized our first measurement dollars there. Then we announced Magnet partnership, and things started to roll downhill a little bit more. Onboarding of customers in Trade Desk, double verify. We started to develop the incrementality approach. We hired Jeff, thank you. You know, and then we got to an alpha on incrementality, right? Which is what's leading into what we're going to do this year and how we think we're going to make a lot of money this year. Case studies, acceleration of revenue, all the metrics that Vlad was showing up front. And then starting to finalize some additional partnerships. Okay, but incrementality is where we're going because attribution in and of itself is a commoditized space. We know that. That's why we're building incrementality. Attribution plus incrementality, I think you guys hear this in market, right? Like, what about iROAS? What about the lift? Like, most clients are not going to be just okay with impression to transaction. That's where we're going. All right, so on that primer front, I think, you know, these numbers are, you got to put an asterisk next to them because, again, we're in startup mode here, like things are going to evolve. But by the end of this year, probably 7 to 10 partnerships, and then hopefully 15 to 20 advertisers who are returning, right? To Vlad's point, like that's 120 customer retention or whatever the right word is they use there. Like that's one of the most important things is that it's not just like Taco Bell turning into Progressive, turning into CC's, right? It's that Progressive stays with us now. It's that Chipotle stays with us now, et cetera, right? So how are we gonna do that? Methodology updates to the attribution solution, the new buyer lift, which I'm gonna touch on, which I think is a really, really important advancement in just our attribution solution. iROAS, the incrementality alpha that's going on now, which a lot of you are a part of. This, again, like we can't understate, this has the ability to transform our measurement, sale, and market to really high demand generation. We need to be able to execute on it. We're working on that, but incrementality has the ability to transform our business. And then obviously we've hired some data science resources. We're going to hire some more B2B focused data science resources to really accelerate our ability to one, talk about this with confidence in market, and two, execute. Daniel will probably talk about partnerships in his section, but Amazon's interested in working with us. We're testing some stuff with them right now. The Nexon integration's underway. Trade Desk 2.0, I'll call it. It's just an evolution of like where that goes. And then obviously social, like CC's great example. We have to be able to crack into social to win these bigger budgets, to win these bigger clients, because that's where a lot of their investment is. Easier said than done because it's walled gardens and it takes a different kind of approach, but that's where we need to go. And I already talked about the data science investment, but data footprint investment as well. Like I'm working closely with Clarence and Lily and Tim on how much we can invest in our Frisbee product this year so that we have more robust CPG data so we don't have to say no to CPG clients. Cool, questions here? This all checks out. All right.
Can you talk about focus and roadmap? I don't mean to pick on you. You know what I'm gonna say. Like, why are we making the investments where we're making in terms of like what we're building for, as opposed to looking at like a Lionsgate wants to come back and do a brand lift study for like 15K. Can you just talk about like how you, Jeff, are thinking about long-term sustainable revenue for the business?
Lionsgate's a perfect example. Like in September of last year, right? Like we were like, this is great. We're going to do an alpha with Lionsgate via the Trade Desk, show them that brand lift works, and that's going to be part of our 2024 roadmap to do full funnel measurement. Things change. Brand lift is not on the table right now because we have so much invested in incrementality and attribution, right? And I think that's actually a good thing, right? We've narrowed our focus from a product perspective. I still want us to be a full funnel measurement company. I think that's probably how we get to like a big stretch number in 2025. But we can do that through partnerships at first, and or as we start to build the revenue on attribution and incrementality, we'll then have bandwidth and resource to go build brand lift on top of that. So that for me is like the cherry on top of the cake. Once we get all the other stuff built, there's a lot of brand lift in the market right now. So I think that's a good point. Like where we've come from is not necessarily where we're going, although we'll probably circle back to it in the long run. I think from another like focus standpoint, I have another slide on this, so I'll get there too. But from just a pure focus perspective, we're going to try to do this a little bit stepwise and a little bit more structured. Right now, it's like we know attribution and incrementality work for like QSR insurance. Like we have a lot of momentum around Panda, Progressive, right? The names and the logos you guys have been seeing. It doesn't mean we shouldn't be going after other things, but some of what we've realized is to be able to go full bore at CPG, for example, we need more data. And a lot of that is because we've had exploration with Jeff and the data science team about what it's going to take to have like a fully functional and automated CPG offering. Does that make sense? So like, doesn't mean CPG is off the table, doesn't mean brand lift's off the table. Social will be on the table at some point, but all of this just means we're going to do it a little bit more structured and focused over the next 12 months.
I also just want to say, like, and we can, if you want to skip 2 slides ahead, I think it's 2 slides. Oh, sorry, you're going to go back 3 slides ahead. Okay, so incrementality is difficult to do. Like, it requires significant data science, feedback from clients, iterating, panel size. There's like a lot of things that go into it. And what makes us our special sauce, if you will, is our like panel with our transaction data. So the robustness of all of the demographic, psychographic information we have, and the different collection mechanisms we have. Online, offline, third-party cash, like all the stuff that you guys know and are talking about. So for us to win, like we really, we have no choice, like we have to focus on building the foundation of what what incrementality will be, otherwise it will not be rigorous enough to make us an always on partner with the world's leading brands. Like they're not like just working with us because it's like fun and innovation, like yeah, it's part of it. Like they're working with us to grow their business. And the way that we do that is by building an absolutely like just incredibly rigorous product. Right now, we put this here because we think this is a good way to think about it. Right now, we have basically 3 ways to quantify marketing impact. Attribution and like real-time sales optimization, that's a lot of what you're selling today. That is like a good entry point into the conversation. We kind of have that as a solution. It establishes us as a measurement partner, like we have some of those integrations. As you like move to the right on this graph, you get more sophisticated and differentiated, but also more complicated. And you're also up-leveling your types of conversation. So we have new buyer lift. You guys have probably seen it. It was built into the dashboard. This is something that we pretty much uniquely can offer because of the longitudinal nature of our data. So we're looking at attribution, but a specific view for people who have not purchased in 12, 18 months at a particular brand, merchant, whatever. Like that is better than what exists in market. And we've done some development to build that and offer that so that we can talk about that in market. That's something you can sell. Incrementality is an advancement and evolution on top of that. This is like, you know, super rigorous. We're talking to PhDs in math who like are evaluating like our representativeness, like our scale, our ability to deliver this in real time, how believable the reporting that we're doing, how we're controlling for, you know, different payment channels, online, off, like I mean, Mitch has been there, like double ML, you know?
I know.
So it's just, it's more complicated, but it also allows that is what is going to allow us to disrupt this industry.
If I even totally, but even 1.0, even on the left, real-time attribution is already a game changer.
Right.
Imagine what happens when we tell them everything else. That's what makes this so much fun to me.
It's just from a like focus perspective, like every single time that we try and do something else, and I'm sure Clarence is going to talk about this because I don't think that he's harder on anyone else at the company than me who like tries to do things in the middle of the quarter and in flight. Like we have to mobilize our engineering resources. What I talked about it, like there are consumer resources that are being pulled into B2B stuff to do something for some nominal fee every single time that it changes the long-term vision. If we want to get to a good place from a retention perspective, we have to be focused, and incrementality is what's going to really help us. We will figure out brand lift in short order. We're talking to Lucid right now, but it's not going to come from here. Like the focus of Dan and his team needs to be in incrementality.
I'm gonna double click on the new buyer lift real quick. So has everyone seen this in the dashboard? It's like showing up in your dashboards. Like, so first of all, like Jeff was saying, so this is a build off attribution, but this is like a proxy for incrementality almost. It's not as rigorous as incrementality. So when someone asks us for like lift, we like in market, we're gonna have to determine like what are they talking about, right? Like that's part of the nuance that we all need to get comfortable with this year. It's like, well, do you guys do lift? Do you do iROAS? Well, what's your current source of iROAS? Because it's not always like the Starbucks, like talking about the most advanced machine learning algorithms in the world to predict.
Anything.
Okay.
Yeah, just look like you're interested in what's
Man.
happening.
That is
Why that guy standing up?
Do you guys know me at all? Like talking to Starbucks is like the that is like if we win that data science conversation, like that unlocks everything. There's something between here and there. Okay, so what this does though is this quantifies like the net new people, like Jeff was saying, that haven't purchased in like a 12, 6, 18-month period and are now purchasing tied to impression within the attribution window. Does that make sense? I'm using a lot of our terms there. Gwen, layman's terms?
You should explain that again. You should explain that.
Okay, so, all right, so like our longitudinal data goes back, what, 2-3 years realistically. Let's take Progressive, for example. So Progressive wants to understand just net new. It's easy to think about from a subscription perspective, right? Like think Progressive, think Netflix. If someone has a $9.99 ongoing Netflix or an ongoing $100 car payment, the advertisers don't care about their ads driving to those people. Those people are already converted. They care about a net new subscription. So if we take someone that we take out their transaction data over the last, like, let's just call it 6 months. So no Netflix recurrings for 6 months. And now we show tied to impression within 1 day or within 7 days or 30 days, that there's a net new sign up. That is really impactful, right? That's what this number is showing.
Can I choose another example?
Yeah.
Alright, Breck. Breck's a big running guy, you guys know that, like, works on Gatorade, I'm sure Breck drinks Gatorade, right? Like, if Breck buys a Gatorade, you don't drink Gatorade?
Anti right now. We'll get back to that.
Great example. No.
Like if, okay, assume Breck drinks Gatorade, like his run club sponsors it, whatever. Like he sees a Gatorade ad, buys a Gatorade, like not that interesting, the Gatorade, not that interesting. RG3, Rebecca, like.
What? I love that. I love that.
RG3.
I love
Never
that.
heard of it.
That's great.
Sorry, it just came to me.
Just gotta pick it.
So,
Hasn't bought a Gatorade in 18 months, sees a Gatorade ad, buys a Gatorade in a week. They care about that. That's what this allows us to do.
Exactly. Right, and then so the new buyer lift is the lift on top of the baseline conversion rate that you would see, the overall conversion rate that's in the overview tab. So normally it's like, what, 4 or 5% on our campaigns. So this is small compared to that, but you're getting a 1% lift on top of that. That's important for Gatorade, that's important for Progressive. For Progressive, that turns into a big number, right? Because you multiply that through times a 12-month buyer, spending $1,000 on auto insurance, it's a big number.
Multiplied by the lifetime value.
Exactly.
And the total addressable market for people who have cars.
Totally.
Yeah.
We're, instead of these charts here, we're talking to Drew about this stuff. Instead of these charts here, you're gonna see like an LTV extrapolation as well, which will be really cool. That's V2 of this. So, and you have a cost per acquisition, you've got a new buyer ROAS, you've got the projected number of new buyers. Like these are big metrics for our advertisers. We can probably do a better job of highlighting these in the dashboard. We just wanted to bring it to life really quickly. 1.0.
so how does that differentiate from incrementality? Like, what is like true?
It's a
like, what is the
proxy
delineation?
for incrementality, right? Like an incrementality model, Jeff's gonna talk about this in a second. Incrementality is saying, like, you would not have gotten these sales without the advertising. This is not necessarily saying that, but it's a proxy for that, right? Go ahead.
Try to emphasize.
Yeah.
So if net new is 0 to 1, you weren't buying it, saw an ad, and now you're buying it. Incrementality is, I'm already a Starbucks customer, I go to Starbucks often, I was exposed to a Starbucks ad, and my behavior changed as a result of that. In other words, I'm either buying more frequently with Starbucks, buying more at Starbucks, and you're applying, the reason why it's difficult is because we've got a shitload of data to be able to extract out a behavior change that's statistically significant.
The only thing I would add to that is that net new is included in the incrementality as well. So like,
yeah, it's net new and existing, and then think about Vlad's example, which is true, but think about it at like a group level.
Yeah.
Like quantifying like what % of that group would have gone, and then like what actually went. That's where the data science comes.
to be fair, some are gonna be okay with just this. You're not gonna have to go all the way in.
My bet is a lot are gonna be okay with just this.
Yeah.
Even this is big, but imagine what happens then, like that's what was cool about it.
And like, we, for example, we've been talking to Chipotle, they're part of our incrementality alpha, they were like jazzed about this. They have a definition of a lapsed customer, like we built a look, a 12 to 18 month look, and like they're pumped, they're using that for optimization. It's like, this is gonna go, I'd say like 75 to 80% of the clients you talk to, this will be totally fine.
So this is ready to go, like this is in the
This
dashboard
is
today.
what we're doing with.
No, we're actually doing the full incrementality, but this is also an option. Think about this as like in-flight optimization, and we're doing the full like data science rigorous
Yes,
report.
I remember
Yeah,
So we're gonna be charging extra for this, like
No.
there's 3 stages, or
No.
we just?
Everything's at 45 cents, right now, like at some,
Eventually.
we will eventually, but like for now, we're good.
keep it simple, right? Just go sell as much as you can, we'll figure this out in the long run.
Yeah.
I would say, like, one thing here is with the trade desk, right? Like this, we've gotten questions a lot about like our trade desk numbers. Is it too high? Is it too low? Is it accurate? Is it right? We're using a different approach there. When we bring the data back into our house via the pixel, we're able to see a view like this. This is completely differentiated versus anything you can see in the trade desk. right? This shows our longitudinal view versus Trade Desk is like a point in time on like a week 1, week 3 of a campaign. How much are you converting? Great for optimization within the Trade Desk. We're working through methodology and stuff there that will make that better. This is more of like a source of truth around that. We're like 10 minutes still. And yeah, feel free to join. but-
5, 10. Okay, we'll try and be quick.
All right, any more questions here? Okay, the last thing I'll say here is like CPG, be careful here because we're not gonna be able to show a full 12-month view with the Frisbee data yet. Right, that 1-year mark comes up around May, but just be mindful of that.
So is this going to be in every dash?
It'll be in every dash.
Yes.
We'll have to think about how we surface it forward, like you probably just default to like 90 or 180 days right now with CPG.
Are we gonna include, the optimization tab? Is there gonna be that? new
Yeah,
buyer?
there's net new optimization as well. So if you go to the optimization tab, after you're in the new buyer tab, show someone how they can optimize to bring in a net new customer. That's also a big one.
So you're showing causation versus simply just correlation.
Closer to causation. Sorry, I have to.
Fair.
It's-
I'm a salesperson.
You guys can say whatever. No.
Yeah, say what you want, but yeah.
All right. Quick, 10 minutes, Clarence, unless you want to join.
Yeah.
Okay.
5 and 7.
Jeff's gonna quickly like
Well,
talk
we
about.
kind of covered this,
Yeah.
so why don't you skip 2 slides ahead? I just want like a very quick overview, 2 slides.
Let me just real quick, so
Okay.
like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing brutality? I think we've driven this point home. But like, you guys have been in a meeting where almost every time we pitch the attribution solution, it's like, do you have iROAS? Do you have like? Again, we need to find out what they mean when they say iROAS, because there's a lot of our competitors in market that have iROAS. They're not doing double ML Starbucks models, right? There's some version of like what, again, new buyer lift and brutality.
And they have gaps, even if they are doing good data science, like maybe they don't have cash transactions, which is like, if your clients Taco Bell and you don't have cash transactions, like that's 40% of the business. Like there's legitimate gaps. So
Walmart, Target, CVG. Okay, without incrementality, we're not a serious disruptor in the United States, like point blank. We have to get there. And we're going to. And then, you know, we touched on this, but social partnerships require us to have an incrementality approach to be able to partner with them. It's not gonna work just on that. All right, we talked about this.
You guys, by the way, you can go into some of my section, because I think there's like some crossover here, so if you feel like we're not getting what we need, we can revisit during.
Yeah.
okay, this is just like an example. Like we have so many conversations and we are amazing at selling vision. And then we get into like people's actual concerns about our solution. And Vlad had some of this in our slide. Like a lot of this is perception and how we talk about this in market, but we wanted to just show like a bunch of the types of things that we're hearing. Like, why aren't you matching up to our source of truth? Like, isn't your panel skewed? What's the scale? Like, is it representative? Can you do sub-product incrementality, et cetera? Like, we hear all of this, and there's a lot of work in progress to, both like bring our product, our panel, invest in the data that we have, to be able to get through and win, a conversation with a very serious data science team at a world leading brand like Starbucks. But there's also the aspect of like, how do we talk about this? We can help you certainly like talk about how you talk about representativeness, like we balance the US Census, et cetera. Like you should have those like ready to go talking points such that like when we're not in the meeting, like you can at least be like, oh yeah, like we control for this, like, but you should talk to our measurement team.
Fair to say, like linking back to Vlad's concept market fit. Concept market fit leads to these questions get answered, and we have product market fit.
Yep. Okay, and then just a quick one on like what we mean by like measurement excellence. Like these are the fundamentals that we're striving towards. There's like a little rainbow colored attain bar to give you a sense of like where we're at. But in order to be like an always on like true measurement disruptor, we need work to have an unbiased panel, like merchant and product scale, rigorous methodology that can withstand like extremely technical, rigorous methodological conversations. you know, we need to deliver insights mid-flight that are actionable, that are easy to interpret, they're easy to implement. And then, interpretability as well. So like we're thinking about all of these things in all of the products that we build. We are at different places with these things, but we want to just give you like a sense of like what it means for us to have like excellence with how we go to market from a metric perspective. And then this is like the last slide after this, which
We're gonna show this slide again in 6 months, and hopefully these bars are way further down the road.
Yeah, and there's talking points for each of those things that you can get through the first conversation for sure, and then if you have to bring us in, that's cool too. All right, I am gonna move over here because I think there's so much cool stuff going on here, but I just want to be able to read it, and I didn't think they'd be small to you. Okay, so I think most people know where we're at, so I'm not gonna cover that much in the today section, other than like we have robust models for QSR incrementality. We have a slew of interests, like I think our company goal is to have 2 unpaid QSR alpha participants, and we have like, I don't know, 5 of them paid. And like Emma just is getting a fat check this quarter probably, like because their hand is paying us 130K or whatever. So we're in a really good place on QSR. We have had Block, Kurt and I have had really good conversations with Amazon DSP. This is like, just to give you a little like sense of how important of a partnership and transformative this would be for us. Snapchat last year as a company did about $5 billion in advertising. Amazon DSP did $50 billion in advertising. They like, this can scale very quickly. And we're in a really good place, testing with them, like they've already, so this will be transformative for us. Q2 for us looks like an evolution of our incrementality work, tightening the models that we have for QSR, starting to dip our toes into CPG incrementality, starting to invest, but investing in data investment with Frisbee, partnerships with Double Verify, Uber. There's a lot that will come here. I'll let Block cover that in a lot of his section. Q3 is like that, all of that existing, but building the capabilities into the dashboard so you guys can go easily sell it, scaling partnerships through automation, integrating within social. We know that we have gaps there, like that's very much on the roadmap. It's just like we have to get through the methodology development first. That needs to be where our focus, and then like ultimately this is a business that can scale super quick. Like if we have the models that are tight, like they're rigorous, the panel is representative, it's unbiased, we've invested in the data, receipt capture data, all the different like data investment that we're doing, like this business can scale like extremely easily. So we're working so much right now on the fundamentals and then the integrations. But once we have those in place, and you should bring your partners along to the journey with us, like there's going to be a lot of money-making opportunity here. Would you add anything?
Yeah, our goal is to have that vision largely aligned and with Clarence's team and what they're going to talk about, Block, and what he's going to talk about a little later by Q4, so that we can really pour gas on this thing in Q4, and 25 should be off to the races. So we've all felt the pain of the last 6 months of like building this thing, the fits and starts with clients. We're not quite through that forest yet, but we are getting there. And like everything we're doing again is to enable that sale. If it's earlier than Q4, great. If we have a couple setbacks that push it back a month or two, so be it. But to Jeff's point, this business scales when we get it all right. So that's what we're focused on.
And we'll all get great fat checks.
We will all do it. And then the team data platform will just live in the ether.
Yes.
We can go do whatever we want. Okay. Really quick, Maddie is going to just touch on Salesforce and the new feasibility process. I know we're at time, so we'll just do it.
Why don't we do this in my section?
Okay. Skip. All right, so bring it back to the icebreaker. So what do we need to focus on? How do we enable you guys to be in market and do this now versus waiting until Q4? Focus on the economic buyer, solve for their pain points, help them understand our solutions, bring that feedback loop cross-functionally back to Clarence, myself, Locke, Vlad. We will solve for these pain points in real time. That is what we're trying to do so that we keep it progressive, we keep it Taco Bell, we keep all, right? And then we're also developing new business, and all of this in due time will scale. Questions? All right,
Fire up.
yeah.
All right,
So Brandon.
I'm gonna end this one and.
So like Lionsgate.
Except for Lion.